up there? Backward Samurai coming at you live with video. As you watch the other video, we're going to be doing a 3-part video. I'm going to be doing a 3-part video saga. And I thought, get the longsword done and over with. And I know he's being biased again. Again, I love all swords. I just don't particularly like the shape. They're not, as Scalagrim would say. Yes, that is a real YouTuber for all of those who have never heard of him. Would say, it's not aesthetically pleasing. And I think that means it don't look good. But, we'll not argue. Now, I'm not very tech savvy, so I'm not going to be like putting links and stuff in my video descriptions. I might like type where to go to find swords like these. I don't know, I made these, but that's besides the point. Now, the long sword. I'm not going to ramble on anymore. Get down to business. Now, this video, I'm going to be talking about the history of a long sword. And a few different types, but that's towards the end. Now, the history of the long sword. The long sword was originally invented in 11th century England. The purpose of the long sword was to have longer reach in battle. Normally, warriors of the time would wield a short sword, which is something of this length. You can see I don't have as much reach as I would with a long sword or any others. Now, believe it or not, the long swords you buy from Cold Steel or True Swords or Swords of Might or Swordaxe.com or the Sword Blast Guide, Call of Athena, all them, they come to you freaking razor sharp. I mean, you could sit there with a piece of paper and go whap, 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 whap. And then go out and like cut to like sliced Katami Moto mats or water bottles like they were, I don't know, butter. No! Historically, those swords were inaccurate. Historically, long swords were pretty dull. About the sharpness of an ordinary butter knife. They had the sharpness of a butter knife, people. The edge of a longsword was more of a hacking and slashing, was more of a hacking and chopping weapon, more along the lines of a slicing, dicing weapon. The longsword evolved as the English armor evolved. Now this is the classic longsword blade shape. This is one of the first blade shapes of longswords. Of course, they come in all shapes and sizes. But this is the most common blade shape that everyone's familiar with. Now, the reason it's shaped like this is because originally, around the time the longsword was invented, English soldiers were still wearing chainmail armor or leather armor. And they always had shields. I know a lot of you are thinking knights in shining gilded armor. No, that didn't come until like 15th century, people. And even then, like, they didn't wear those suits of armor in the battle. The big heavy armor they saved for like tournaments and jousting and to look fancy at parties. They wore chainmail because it was actually lighter and provided a lot of the same protection. But still, the longsword originally was designed to aid the warrior by giving him longer reach. And if the sword looks curved in the video, that is because this thing actually curved. I was originally thinking of making it into a katana with that slight curve in it, but I decided against it and decided to make a longsword. Hey, I needed a longsword and the tip was already longsword shaped, so why not? Saves me time and work, I guess. Whatever. But that's beside the point. The point I'm trying to make here, people, is the longsword is a good weapon, but that's besides the point. Now, back on topic. The longsword, as I said earlier, evolved with the armor. I mean, up here you got like chainmail armor and blade designs like this. Originally, the sword was designed for longer reach and for piercing the chainmail armor. So it has this tip up here. Kind of reminds you of something, don't it? All you guys and ladies out there. It kind of reminds you. Think of the chainmail as the hole and the sword as the dangling. But yeah, it was designed to pierce through the chainmail armor into the flesh. Long swords have always historically been more of hacking and thrusting weapons, more slicing, less slicey-dicey weapons. Now, with the new invention of the longsword, there came different classifications. And I know a lot of you are thinking, what about the claymore? Well, the claymore is strictly Scottish, or I believe Irish. England had different versions. Their claymore, per se, could be classified as a war sword, or even a great sword. And let me tell you something, folks. A lot of knights carried a long sword like this and a war sword. The war sword was about the length of a long sword, but it came out another half a foot, another 6 inches to 8 inches from full length long sword. So, like from here. So from the tip here to my red band is how much extra blade you had. To the end of my red band by my wrist is how much extra blade you had of the a war sword. A great sword would have had a longer blade, but here's the thing, it had the long sword's cutting edge. And what I mean by that is, you had the war sword's grip, which would have been from here down to about here. From here, all the way down, and about here. Then you'd have the pommel and crap. And then you'd have another grip up here by the blade. Then you'd have the cutting edge. Not to mention a huge fancy guard. So yeah, that would have been the great sword. Again, I'm focusing on the long sword. Now, as I said before, there's different variations of the blade. Some are forged like this, flat. Some have bevels. Some have like blood grooves or fullers. Hell, some even have hollow ground edges with fullers. And if you've ever seen like the original Conan movie, it's kind of like that blade design, but a little thinner. And some even start wide at the base, like this wide at the base, then taper up to a hypodermic needle-like point. And this is because, check the time, okay. And this is because the longsword, as armor improved, you got lighter, full-plated body armor, okay. As the armor improved, not only were you shield and sword fighting, but you also had puncture-proof armor. The metal plating combined with chainmail underlayers. Chainmail or leather, depending on how big you are. I guess chainmail if you like really big and bulky, but like the freaking Hulk, but never mind. As the armor improved, the longsword needed to evolve along with it. So a longer, skinnier blade was needed for more accurate stabbing. Say if I was wearing a full plate, full armor, right under here there's a major blood vein, people. And if you could get a sword to hit me right under here, or in here back then, which is where a major gap in my armor would be, you could kill me. Not to mention there was a gap here, gap on the other side, gaps in between the legs. There was gaps where the armor had to move and free flow and where the joints were. Those gaps were where a trained swordsman would aim his sword for the thrust. And as I mentioned, long swords were dull. Well, this was because not only did you have shield-on-shield fighting, but you also had blade-on-blade contact. And I guess someone figured out that if you had a razor-sharp sword in battle, that when you hit, you'd have a huge chip in your blade. And it's like, oh crap, this is going majorly cut down my cutting ability. Well, I guess not. I mean, you have serrated. I mean, by the time the battle was over, the whole damn thing would be a serrated blade. But that's beside the point. Whew, my mask almost fell. Someone, over the course of the longsword's design, figured out that if you put a blunt blade on a sword, it chips less, which means you can keep fighting more. And so, the blunt-edged, long and skinny, not like mine, never mind. It's a joke y'all get later. Younger viewers won't get that joke, but the older ones will be like, funny. Never mind. But yeah. The long, skinny, blunt longsword came into being. And has been the most iconic and well-known sword throughout all of sword collectors. A lot of you out there would say it's a knight's sword or a Templar sword. And I'm not getting into all that. That's just a whole bunch of kettlefish. Like I'd have to do like a 3-hour-long video on that, and I'm not going to do that. So till next time, Backward Samurai tells all y'all, be crazy rednecks, and be safe when using your weapons. I'm out.